Yo, peace and blessings. This is Brother Mike X. Welcome to another clip from my YouTube channel, Brother Mike X Speaks. Yo, family, my emotions are like going crazy right now. I'm leaving the world famous 125th Street in Harlem, New York. And the reason why my emotions is flipping right now is because I've gone through some extremes in the last couple of days. I just came back from a trip up north to a place called Canandaigua, New York. Like by, I think, Lake Ontario, almost in Canada. It took me 5 hours, me and my two co-workers who went with me. We went to a conference dealing with juvenile justice. And yo, it was, I just gotta be blunt, man. It was white, you know, it was white, everyone. You know what I mean? And no matter what capacity, in the hotel and the restaurants and the malls, like, it was just white. You know what I mean? And, you know, we were looking for other black people, like, you know, and when we saw some, you know, I was kind of like expecting, there were so few of us, I was expecting, you know, like somebody to give like a nod, you know what I mean? A wink, a thumbs up, you know what I mean? But nah, a lot of them, I don't know what was on their mind. I know what was on my mind. The racial subtleties, you know, the tension, you know, was definitely there. You know, I'm not a mind reader, but I'm definitely very good on feeling vibration, you know, vibrational energy, man. And you know, and I could tell these people were like, I don't even, like, what are they doing here? You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't wait to leave, you know? And I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm not, you know, I'm not bigoted, you know what I mean? You know, I'm definitely pro-black, but I'm not bigoted, you know what I mean? You know, if you from another race or ethnicity and you striving to deal in truth, you know what I mean, and righteousness, man, you know, yeah. You know, we can converse, we can get along, you know what I mean? We might even be able to work on a project of mutual interest, you know what I mean? But I'm definitely for the uprise of my people. And it was just a dramatic display, an example that everybody else has been allowed to take control over their geographic area, you know, and bend it to their social, political, and economic will, you know, where they're able to take care of their needs and their own agenda, their needs, wants, and concerns, you know, as white people, as Chinese people, as Koreans, as Italians, and, you know, everybody has been allowed to do that except for the black man. You know what I mean? And even as we was driving back to New York City, you know, we was going through different towns, you know, and we got hungry, man. So we jumped off the road to go into a restaurant, and everybody in the restaurant, again, you know, was white, man, from, you know, from the serve, you know, the person who, you know, says how many seats, you know, how many y'all is it, you know, let me get you a seat, to the servers, to the other patrons, to the cooks out of adventure, you know. And I was just thinking, man, about the difference between how they're rocking and how they're living and how we're doing it, man. And it made me come back with a very serious attitude, you know, not to say that I went up there with a frivolous attitude, but, you know, just seeing that graphic and feeling that, it just made me come back and say, yo, man, I gotta be more, even more focused than I've already been. Let me give you an example. Checked into the hotel, right? As I was checking into the hotel, me and my co-workers, the white concierge who was supposed to be checking me in, she got involved in a conversation with another white lady who was already checked in. And they wasn't talking about anything of any earth-shaking significance. They was just shooting the crap, as they say. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at the lady and I'm like, yo, I know this lady see me standing here trying to get checked in. And then I look back at the white concierge and saying, yo, it's even more your responsibility to cut this lady off and say, pardon me, I'll get to you in a second. Let me check this young man in. But nah, they had like a full-blown conversation. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at the lady, I'm looking at the concierge, then I look at my coworkers and they already know me, you know what I mean? And how, and that I'm very, pro-black and, radical, some would think. And I'm like, yo, we just got here, so I don't even want to blow the spot up. But the longer it went, I'm like, yo, that's racism right there. You know what I mean? So anyway, as, came back down to New York yesterday, Friday, today, Saturday the 25th, decided to come down here to Harlem, 125th Street. And, yo, family, I used to love Harlem, man. 125th Street in particular, It used to be like a little Africa out here, man. I'm talking about vendors, man, selling everything from lectures to books to African garb, you know what I mean, to everything, that really celebrated pro-blackness. It was out here. And back in the 90s, the mayor at that time, Rudolph Giuliani, he led an assault on the vendors to get them up off of the streets, because the takeover of Harlem, we talk about gentrification. Gentrification is a term that describes when one racial ethnic group, in American society tending to be white, they come into traditionally black neighborhoods and they take over. You know what I mean? They buy up the businesses, they buy up the land, they buy up the buildings and everything else. And then they raise the rents, you know what I mean, to where the people who have been living there, the black folk, can't afford them. And then they start pushing them out and they start moving in. You know what I mean? And as I come to Harlem, and it's not just even Harlem. You know what I mean? I think of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, Nostrand Ave, and, all of these different places. Wherever black people live, gentrification is in full swing. Gentrification, what does it, really boil down to? It boils down to them taking over. You know what I mean? Them owning and controlling the businesses. Them being able to, through their power, them being able to manipulate the politics. You know what I mean? Take over the schools. And next thing you know, you're not wanted in the very same neighborhood that you used to live or grew up in. You know what I mean? So, as I come down to Harlem today, man, it's like in full swing. I see where the brothers and sisters have came back out and they're starting to vend again. But as I walk through the neighboring blocks to get to 125th Street, like right now I'm on 128th Street and 5th Avenue, I see more and more white people. You know what I mean? And, just comfortable, just chilling. You know what I'm saying? And what's the problem with that, Brother Mike? Because, you're getting ready to sound bigoted. You're getting ready to sound racist. Nah, man, I'm just saying in juxtaposition, when I went up to Canandaigua, New York, I wasn't made to feel welcome. You know what I mean? I didn't see any black businesses. I didn't see any black homeowners. You know what I mean? They willed their social, political, economic unity, organization, and cohesion to carve out their own neighborhoods to where they can raise their people and provide for their people the way they want to provide for them. But they're double dipping, triple dipping, quadruple dipping while they're owning and controlling their own neighborhoods and bending them to their own social, political, and economic will, making them white neighborhoods or making them Chinese neighborhoods or Japanese neighborhoods or Korean neighborhoods. They're also coming into our neighborhoods and taking over the economic, structure and bending us to their will, to where we can't even spend that. Malcolm used to talk about we need to start spending our own money in our own neighborhoods, but then he also said, even when you try to do that, you trapped. Because a lot of times, 99.9% of the time, they own that business too. So even when you want to spend your money in your own neighborhood, because that's how you build a strong economy, you know, because that's how it's supposed to work. You know, like he said, at sundown, that basket full of money gets taken to another part of the town or another part of the country or another part of the world. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, man, I don't even know. You know, that's nah. I do know. What it's gonna take. You know, what it's gonna take is for each one of us, man, to strive to make it our business to do the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and seek truth. Reconnect ourselves to our rich history and culture. You know what I mean? First and foremost, you know, stop feeling like and acting like, you know, your dignity is tied up in being able to wear white man's clothes, white man's shoes, spend your money in white man's stores. You know what I mean? And I know, you know, family, we're a long way off before we can even really get too strongly where we can make our own products. You know what I mean? And sell our own things. But we got family members who are actually doing that right now. You know what I mean? The only thing that's stopping us from really getting into that is a lot of us have been brainwashed. You know what I mean? Through the music, brainwashed through the TV, the television programs, the television programs, the movies. You know, we've been brainwashed into being self-hating. You know what I mean? Self-loathing. You know, we don't love ourselves. You know what I mean? As Black/African people, you know, most of our people feel like the only way that our life has merit is if we got money, as if we got clothes and cars and jewelry, you know what I mean? Which leads us back into, you know, being dependent upon the man who set himself up in businesses to sell us those things. You know what I mean? But it's time for us to start coming out of bending down and bowing down to being controlled, you know what I mean? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by this system. You know what I mean? We got to start coming up. We got to start doing the knowledge and, you know, working to live better, to eat better. You know what I mean? Yo, let's start boycotting, man. You know, eating out of these Chinese restaurants, man. Let's start boycotting, man, going up into these McDonald's, man, and these fast food joints. You know, let us start to seek to learn about the science of how to eat to live again. You know what I mean? Let us start boycotting, you know, or going on a fast, you know, of watching television. You know what I mean? Of listening to the radio. You know what I mean? The radio, the television is filthy, family. You know, just a short 10, 15 years ago, you know, you couldn't say certain curses. You know, you couldn't say the B word. You couldn't say the N word. You know what I mean? But now, you turn on the radio, man. Yo, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? They're programming. And you know what's even worse is they're using our people to help to destroy the minds. You know what I mean? The emotions, the spirits of their own people. You know what I mean? Through, you know, them wanting to be movie stars, them wanting to be rap stars. You know what I mean? They tell them, and yeah, I'll hit you off. I'll allow you to get rich. But the music that you make has to be of a certain low standard. You know what I mean? We ain't into, you know, letting y'all, you know, do that KRS-One stuff no more, that Rakim Allah stuff, that Brand Nubian stuff. You know, you ain't gonna get no play if that's the type of music that you wanna push. You know, the type of music that you gotta push if you want to be able to get paid in the music industry now. You gotta be talking about the effeminization of the black man. You gotta be talking about, you know, calling your sisters the bees and the sluts and the whores and the dots. You know what I mean? If you're willing to sell out, you know, your principles and talk and help to push that type of brainwashing agenda, yeah, you could get paid quick. You know what I mean? So back to us. Not only do we need to learn our history and culture again and reconnect ourselves to the Elijah Muhammads, the Malcolm X's, the Marcus Garveys, you know what I mean? The Huey P. Newtons, the Sister Soldiers, the Shirley Chisholms, you know what I mean? And so many names. Not only do we got to reconnect ourselves to our history and our culture that allowed us at one point in time to love ourselves as black men, to love ourselves as black women. You know what I mean? To seek to be strong husbands, to seek to be strong wives. You know what I mean? So that we can raise strong black babies. You know what I mean? Representing the black village that it takes to raise a healthy child. Not only do we need to get back to that consciousness, but we also gotta learn business, family. We gotta learn the science of business. We gotta learn the science of eating well, you know, and we gotta learn the science of military strategy and defense. You know what I mean? I was listening to Minister Farrakhan, one of his early tapes back in the 80s, you know, after he, you know, started working to resurrect the Nation of Islam. And I don't remember exactly what lecture it was, but he was talking about the three main things that they strive to keep black people from learning how to do is the proper science of how to give birth to strong babies, the proper science of how to eat to live, and the proper science of military strategy, man. You know what I mean? And how to defend yourself, you know, and defend what's yours, your community. You know what I mean? So, you know, family, oh man, I just wanted to drop that right quick, family. And I say to you, if you feeling what I'm saying, man, don't continue to go along, man, with eating the wrong foods. You know, eating the wrong foods, such as the fast foods and, you know, up in these fast food restaurants, man, causing us diabetes, man, and stroke and heart disease, man. By the time we hit 40, 41, 42, 43 years old, man, we looking like we 89 years old, man, getting ready to die and kill over. We got to stop eating the wrong foods, family. And mentally, we got to stop eating the wrong foods as well. Because the mental foods that we digest through the television, through the radio programs, man, they got us hating ourselves and hating our brother and hating our sister, you know, and living as beasts, you know, of burden in this society, man, keeping us away from elevating ourselves into the supreme consciousness and awareness that the Most High, you know what I mean, made us to actually be able to elevate ourselves to. You know what I mean? We got to focus on coming into a strong emotional equilibrium and balance to where we're not operating out of hate. We're not operating out of envy and lust and jealousy and what have you. But no, we're operating out of humility, you know, submission to the truth, to the highest truth that we can possibly comprehend in every given moment. If each one of us, man, was seeking to do the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on some of the topics that I was talking about, and we were striving to tear ourselves out of, you know, being niggas and bitches, man, you know, and minorities, and was focused on becoming gods again, you know what I mean, in our own life, you know, we would see a change overnight, man. So having said that, man, I'll get back at you as soon as possible, man. I hope that you got something out of this, man. Peace and blessings, yo.